Have you ever wondered if pregnancy symptoms change your IBS or if you can continue with the low FODMAP diet once you become pregnant? Well, in today's session, we are doing a pregnancy deep dive and looking at different strategies for managing gut symptoms during pregnancy. My name is Alana Scott, and I'm the founder of A Little Bit Yummy. I'll be your host today, and joining me is Lyndal Collins, research dietitian from the Monash FODMAP team. Hello, Lyndal.
Hi, Alana. Hi, everyone.
Thank you joining us. Thank you so much for joining us today. I know that you have two little girls at home now.
Yes, I do.
And that have been through this IBS and pregnancy journey yourself. So it's fantastic to have you on the show today and sharing your knowledge. And for anyone who can't tell, I am currently quite pregnant with my first, and I also have IBS. So today's chat session is really, we're going to be talking about what happens to your body and sort of what you can do to support yourself throughout this pregnancy journey. So Lyndal, my first question for you is, can pregnancy change your gut symptoms?
This one's an absolute yes. I think anyone that's been pregnant before will agree with that statement, in that it definitely has a huge impact on your gut. The pregnancy hormones alone have a lot of actions in your gut and do lots of things, and it can be quite different for everyone. So it is a bit of a wild ride, pregnancy, in terms of how it's going to affect you and your body, but for most people it's going to have some influence on how their gut functions at some point.
Absolutely. So I've heard stories through the group that I'm part of, like some ladies are swinging wildly towards sort of that diarrhea as their hormones do that first massive swing during the first phase. And then other people, more like myself, have swung in the opposite direction, where we've got that sort of that lingering constipation that just does not does not want to go away. And then of course, with those hormonal changes, you've also got those symptoms like bloating and excess gas that just sort of arrive and may fluctuate, or they might just hang out during your pregnancy.
Yes, it can definitely be a challenging time for many in terms of the gut side effects of pregnancy and pregnancy hormones in particular. I was very similar to you, Alana. I kind of swung more towards that constipation side of things, particularly in the first trimester and the third trimester. I think for different reasons. So obviously you get a very rapid change in hormones in that first trimester, which can really affect the gut. And for me, that meant severe constipation that was not very fun. And then the third trimester, you've got a different kind of element going on of you've got a big baby in there putting lots of pressure on your gut. All of your internal organs are kind of very squished as well, just from lack of space too. So and you've got the hormones at play.
You've got
there.
relaxin, right? Is that the name of the hormone? And like that's job is to sort of relax all your muscles and give you that stretch that you need for when the baby's entering the world. But the flip side of that is that your intestines are actually like this massive muscle. And so when you tell them to relax, they just get a little lazy. And they're like,
I get
that's
very
cool.
lazy. Yes.
I will chill here. I will not move that food through your digestive system in any regular pace whatsoever.
Absolutely.
And that just sort of compounds all of those issues, right?
Yes.
So I guess this naturally leads us into another question. A lot of people watching this might be watching it because they've been on the low FODMAP diet before pregnancy or are about to start it and have just found out that they are pregnant. So what we see sometimes is people going, I'm experiencing more symptoms because I'm pregnant. I'm going to go way harder with my FODMAP restrictions. Is this the right course of action for this time?
The short answer here is probably not. So pregnancy is a time where we've got quite increased nutritional requirements. So yeah, our need for certain vitamins, minerals, and just things simply like calories or energy and can increase dramatically because we're growing a whole nother human. So we really don't want to be implementing any restrictions to our diet unless absolutely necessary for our health or for our baby's health. So in that regard, we want to kind of steer away from any kind of restrictive dietary practices when we're pregnant. But on the flip side, I totally understand why logic would go if, you know, I have IBS, I've done the low FODMAP diet before, and I'm now on sort of a personalized FODMAP diet, but I'm pregnant now and my symptoms have come back or they've been exacerbated by the pregnancy. Will going back onto that FODMAP restriction help? Again, it may or it may not, because like we just spoke about, most of what's at play here is pregnancy hormones. So our FODMAP intake's not really going to have much of an impact on those hormones at all. It's not really going to change what's going on with them. So restricting your FODMAPs down, again, is probably not going to help very much in this situation. So there's sort of the two aspects there of it's not helpful, and we also don't want to be following really strict dietary restrictions whilst pregnant, because it could impact our ability to get enough nutrients for ourselves and our babies.
Yeah, absolutely. And so if you are experiencing that extreme diarrhea, if you've swung that way, or really troubling constipation, who should you go and talk to? There are obviously non-food strategies or less restrictive food strategies that can be explored for helping manage those. Can you talk to that at all?
Yes, I guess in, not wanting to give medical advice here, this would be the perfect opportunity to speak to your care provider. So whoever is looking after you for your pregnancy, be that your GP, your obstetrician, your midwife, however that looks for you, really asking them for some advice, because they deal with this day in, day out. They're going to have this is one of their frequently asked questions that most patients would at some point bring up during their pregnancies. So they're going to be the best people to recommend some tried and true methods of managing these symptoms. In some cases, the answer is probably going to be you just need to wait it out because there's not much you can do. And being pregnant, Alana, you know as well that there's some medications and things that you can't take when you're pregnant. So it does mean
you don't take anything in your cupboard until you've talked to your healthcare provider if you're being prescribed something.
Exactly, yes.
And if you are in need of that medication support, then your practitioner will prescribe that for you whenever it's appropriate. Yes. But I was going to say, Lyndal, in terms of like constipation management, don't forget that the IBS strategies that are non-food related, so like using a footstool, so your knees are raised above your hips, relaxing your pelvic floor, staying hydrated, and if you can bear the smell and taste of kiwi fruit, then incorporating those
exactly
into your diet can sometimes be useful too. But definitely go and talk to your healthcare provider about different things that might be useful.
Yes.
Lyndal, I know people love hearing about personal stories when we do these FODMAP chats. What happened to your personal FODMAP intolerances when you became pregnant?
So my personal experience was, as I alluded to before, during the first trimester, I felt like my whole body and gut just went completely haywire with all the pregnancy hormones. And I definitely struggled with that severe constipation as a consequence. So I did actually find at that time using a fiber supplement really helpful, and also making sure I was just drinking lots of fluid, because again, remember that you're growing a human. There's lots of fluids going on there with your amniotic fluid that's protecting your baby, and that's going to be increasing and increasing as you progress in your pregnancy. Your whole blood volume is also increasing to support that new life. So your need for fluid does increase during pregnancy. So don't forget that one. It's a really simple one, but don't forget it. So yeah, first trimester, quite challenging, and I found fiber, extra fluid, just simple things like remembering to move if you are feeling well enough, continuing some light exercise, obviously at the recommendation of your doctor or your physio that's helping you with your pregnancy. We don't want to do anything too strenuous, but your light, gentle walking, stretching, that kind of thing that's just going to support the gut with moving around can be helpful as well. I definitely found using the footstool. I always use a footstool now, but the footstool and just those simple postural tips around toileting also really helpful. And then I did actually get to the point where I had to speak to my midwife about other more, I guess, pharmacy-based treatments for the constipation, so some laxative advice, and I got some advice from her around safe laxatives to use during pregnancy as well. So that was the first trimester in a nutshell. After that kind of initial crazy period of fluctuating hormones, I did find that second trimester, as many do, that everything kind of leveled out a bit. And I actually found that most of my previous FODMAP sensitivities disappeared. So for the first time in years, I could enjoy onion, garlic, all of those foods that I had to limit in the past. I could suddenly tolerate again. So this can be one of the beautiful side effects of pregnancy sometimes. I don't know if you found that as well, Alana, that your tolerances have changed.
Yeah, they 100% have. So I was really ill in my first trimester and was on sort of IV fluids every few days during that trimester. Not so much because I was throwing up all the time, but I just seemed to be peeing out all the liquid I was consuming instead of absorbing it, so it wasn't getting to where it needed to be. So in the first trimester, all the foods I was really stomaching, things like nachos, which sounds really weird. I was really into cheese, and I was actually using my lactose intolerance, and still am, to my advantage in terms of managing the constipation. So ice cream was something that I could tolerate really well, and although it's not classed as a healthy food during the first trimester, it's really about getting any nourishment into that body that you can. So so I was living off a lot of ice cream. My FODMAP tolerances have pretty much gone. So I do cook some low FODMAP meals throughout the week, obviously, for A Little Bit Yummy and the members we've got on there. But a lot of the time, we're not worrying about FODMAP. So there's onion and garlic and lots of high fructose foods back in my diet, and that freedom is really fun to play with at this stage, and just be like, oh, I'm craving that. Why not? Let's just eat it and see how it goes. So that's good.
And that was something else that was really important that you spoke about as well, Alana. When you're experiencing that nausea, as a lot of people do, the nausea and vomiting in the first trimester, sometimes the medications given to you by your care providers can have gastrointestinal side effects as well. So I won't name the medication. Anti-nausea medications in particular, one that's commonly used, can have the constipation side effect. So that can, again, kind of complicate things. So really important that if you are experiencing these symptoms, or you will be taking those sort of anti-nausea medications, speak to your care provider about managing that constipation, because they often do come hand in hand, unfortunately.
Absolutely. You've shared a wealth of knowledge with us today. Just before we wind up the session, do you have any other food strategies or tips you'd like to pass on to mums-to-be who might be watching this today?
I think around pregnancy, it can be a really challenging time with food for many people, regardless of if you have IBS or not, or have had IBS in the past. So just be really, really gentle and kind to yourself. As you said, Alana, the first trimester, often the goal is to be able to eat anything that you can tolerate.
Anything you can keep down is a good thing.
Anything you can keep down. Yes, exactly. So just, don't be too pedantic around what you're able to eat in that first trimester. If you can't, eat a perfectly balanced diet, which
I couldn't do veggies or salad or fruit for several weeks.
Yes.
It's okay. It's okay.
It's okay. Again, speak to your care provider if you have concerns around your intake, and they might be able to suggest some things there. But for most people, your baby's going to get everything that they need from your body to grow and to flourish. But yeah, it can be a really challenging time with that nausea. Often food aversions as well can be really challenging. I know I experienced that in my first trimesters as well. Just absolutely cannot eat certain foods that I've previously absolutely loved. So that can be a really challenging thing mentally, I think, more than anything. Sometimes you don't enjoy food anymore because you just know it doesn't taste right, or it's not the same as it used to be.
I lost my taste buds almost entirely for several weeks, and it was so bizarre because I would smell something and be like, oh yeah, like this should be about right, and then you taste it, it's completely opposite. So
yes, if you're cooking, get people to taste, someone else to taste the food because it really can play havoc with your taste buds.
Yeah, I was just going to say, and if you cook something and then don't want to eat it, don't be hard on yourself. Just go and eat a piece of toast.
Absolutely. Yes. I did that many of times. Cook something that I thought was a good idea, and then by the time you finish cooking, you go, no, actually, I can't stomach that at all. So yeah, number one thing there is just be kind to yourself, be compassionate with yourself. It is for most people a really challenging period. Get support from your care provider, reach out to your dietitian if you've worked with one in the past or are currently working one for more support and more tips around managing your nutrition during pregnancy. And yeah, just hopefully you'll be one of those lucky people that experiences that real reprieve from their IBS during pregnancy and be able to enjoy things again.
We've got our fingers crossed for you. And if that's not your journey, then our hearts will just go out to you, because we do understand exactly how challenging pregnancy can be for some people, and it's not as glamorous as social media and the movies make it out to be. So thank you so much. Thank you so much for your time today, Lyndal. You've shared some wonderful knowledge with us, and we hope that gives some of the mums and mums-to-be out there a bit of confidence as they move forward into this next phase of their journey. So thank you again for your time.
Thanks, Alana. And yeah, I hope some of that information is useful to anyone out there who's pregnant with IBS.
And we will also just note that there is a pregnancy and the low FODMAP blog on monashfodmap.com. So if you need a little bit more information, it is worth going on there and searching pregnancy for some more support. Thanks again to everyone who's joined us today, and we look forward to seeing you in our next FODMAP chat. Bye, everyone.
Bye.